Let's cut through the noise and ask a foundational question for any business trying to build real momentum in the digital landscape. What does it actually cost? And maybe more importantly, what incredibly diverse range of services are required to achieve that goal today. It's far beyond just, setting up a social media page. So we took a deep dive into the blueprint of success laid out by a major industry player, a company whose, whole focus is building your brand's momentum. We have the full scope here. Their entire service menu, their pricing structures, their philosophy. I mean, it ranges from services that cost $15 all the way up to like 5-figure strategic consulting packages.
That's right. And our mission for you, the listener, is really to act as your guides through this colossal menu. We need to distill what services matter and critically understand the necessary and sometimes pretty surprising blend of raw creative output, that's the art, and the highly technical analysis required to turn those efforts into measurable, repeatable results.
And the expectations are set high right away. They position themselves not just as some vendor, but as a strategic partner. They claim to be data-driven and results-focused, promising to help clients dominate your industry. I mean, that sounds like the dream, doesn't it? But we need to see if the price tags and the actual service list match up to that huge promise of domination.
Okay, so when we look at their initial pitch, that whole why we're different section, the value proposition isn't just about, making things look pretty. They are promising transformation, taking a client's raw vision and actually converting it into measurable results.
Right, and that conversion process seems to rely on two main pillars. We hear a lot about creative excellence, crafting compelling narrative, visual experiences that really drive engagement. That's the part people, I think, traditionally associate with marketing.
Exactly. But crucially, that creative work is, essentially worthless without the second pillar, measurable results. They really emphasize transparent reporting, detailed analytics, and a crystal clear focus on tracking return on investment, the ROI. This is what separates modern marketing from, say, old-school advertising. The expectation now is that every single dollar has to be accountable.
Okay, that makes sense. That's the strategic philosophy. But operationally, what does this partnership actually look like on the ground? They highlight 3 core operational benefits. They talk about a complete service, meaning they claim they can handle everything from the high-level concept right down to the technical implementation, which, theoretically saves the client the headache of managing 5 different vendors.
And they also promise a personal partnership, meaning the strategy is customized. It's not just some off-the-shelf template. But I think the most important operational promise, especially if you're trying to build momentum, is rapid response. This speaks directly to agility. In the digital world, data changes daily, hourly sometimes, and they promise to quickly adapt campaigns based on performance data and market feedback. If you don't have that agility, momentum just dies. Instantly.
But hold on, let's maybe push back on that a little. Can a company that handles massive strategic planning, full video production, and provides simple, like $15 image retouching, truly maintain that high-touch personal partnership? Doesn't such a broad, complete service menu kind of risk sacrificing specialization somewhere?
That's a really valid challenge. It does suggest they might be operating on 2 different levels at the same time, providing high volume, maybe lower cost technical labor on one end, while reserving the really expensive strategic thinking for their high-tier clients. The breadth itself is a service, the ability to be a one-stop shop, but the quality of that specialization, that's what we need to try and verify when we look at the results later on.
Okay, let's try and verify that breadth right now by looking at the service menu itself. It definitely confirms that the modern agency has to be truly full stack, covering, everything from core creative storytelling right down to optimizing tiny technical elements on a website. We can start with the visibility layer, digital marketing and visibility. These seem to be the services designed for, immediate traffic generation and search ranking. We see the familiar foundational acronyms here.
Absolutely. They offer paid advertising, which you probably know as PPC SEM. That's pay-per-click campaigns and search engine marketing. Basically paying to show up at the top of Google or in social media feeds. And alongside that, they provide comprehensive SEO, search engine optimization, which is the unpaid organic side of making sure your content naturally ranks high. Beyond just search, they handle email marketing, setting up automations, and of course, website development and the ongoing optimization. These are really the tools that ensure your digital storefront is polished up and visible.
Right. Now let's pivot to the art side, the content creation, creative production. This is where the budget, I imagine, really starts to climb because it involves specialized people, right? We see the standards: video, multimedia production, explainer videos, animation.
All the expected stuff.
Yeah. And they also offer high-quality photography, including product shots and even drone photography and videography. Pretty cool. But here's the detail that really stood out to me, illustrating that shift in modern storytelling. The inclusion of highly specialized screenplay and script writing services. Like 9 different unique products available just for that.
That is fascinating, isn't it? Because it suggests they treat content not just as, marketing copy, but as a genuine narrative production.
Yeah.
It requires expertise far beyond a typical copywriter. Whether it's for an animated explainer or a really high-end promotional video, that script is the absolute foundational blueprint. And they recognize that paying for genuine screenwriting skill is actually a necessary investment if you want compelling long-form video content today.
Okay, but that deep investment in narrative, it only really matters if we can quantify its impact, right?
Yeah.
So let's jump to the pure science part. Analytics and performance optimization. This is where that measurable results promise has to be fulfilled.
Exactly. This side involves data analytics and reporting things like setting up systems, Google Analytics is the common one, and building custom dashboards to track KPIs, key performance indicators. But the real deep work is in performance optimization. They offer services that squeeze maximum efficiency out of the traffic you already have. Things like A/B testing.
That's showing 2 versions of a page, right?
Precisely. See which performs better. Plus UX testing, user experience, and deep technical dives like heat map analysis, page speed optimization. They are really looking under the hood, trying to fine-tune everything.
And finally, it looks like they connect that performance data back to the broader market under market research, and then offer the highest level strategy stuff under technology and business strategy.
Right. This is where they sell the consulting layer, digital transformation consulting, high-level marketing strategy. What's critically important about this section, I think, is the prominence of automation and AI solutions. They explicitly include AI-powered content generation. This just confirms that for them, staying competitive isn't just about strategy anymore. It's about actively integrating the latest technology into the actual workflow.
Okay, so we've established the breadth is huge.
Yeah.
Now let's talk about the pocketbook. By examining their specific pricing, especially these top deals, we can maybe establish the market's perceived value hierarchy, like what's seen as simple labor and what's seen as really high-value intellectual property. Take the video content discounts, for example. Quality multimedia production is expensive, no doubt. Promotional video production, it's reduced from $6,000 down to $4,899. Video marketing content creation is offered for $3,750. I mean, these aren't small numbers.
No, not at all. But they do reflect the complexity we just talked about. Lighting, editing, shooting, and maybe that specialized script writing, too. It all adds up.
Yeah. The deals also cover some niche visibility needs. YouTube channel management and optimization is a good example, down from $2,200 to $1,499 out. But if we really want to understand strategic value, we have to look at the data infrastructure services listed under their top deals.
This is where the analysis gets really sharp, I think. These are critical analytical functions that define high-level business intelligence. KPI tracking and monitoring setup, just the setup, is priced at $2,697. That's the cost of putting the tracking system in place, just knowing what you need to measure.
Okay, but then look at the next level up. Attribution modeling is $3,497. What exactly is attribution modeling again?
Attribution modeling is all about figuring out which specific marketing touch point, was it the Google ad, the email you sent, maybe the Facebook post, which one actually deserves the credit for the final sale. It's essential for preventing wasted budget, but it requires a pretty sophisticated setup to do it right.
Right, makes sense. And then we hit the highest price point for a data service listed here. The deal to transform raw data into actionable business intelligence is $4,497. Why is that specific transformation service worth almost double the cost of just setting up the tracking?
Well, because you're paying for the cognitive lift, essentially. And decision assurance. The KPI tracking gives you the numbers, the raw data. But the business intelligence transformation gives you the answer. It requires specialized analytical expertise to build models that translate potentially terabytes of raw numbers into a clear executive directive. Do this specific thing and your sales are likely to increase by X%. You are paying for reduced risk and higher confidence in your next big investment, maybe $1 million investment.
Okay. That frames the value hierarchy perfectly. So pure creative strategy, like the discounted screenplay adaptation services, sits way up there at $10,000. Confirms its high-value specialist status. And then way down on the low end, you've got technical labor like image editing and retouching for $15.
It's a huge range, isn't it? From high-volume piecework right up to bespoke strategy. But here's another interesting point I noticed. Among their top-rated services, a 5.0 out of 5 rating, is email marketing training priced at $950. Even with all the cutting-edge AI and attribution modeling available, foundational training in a core skill like email marketing remains a critical, high-value investment for clients. That kind of shows you can't just bypass the basic education piece. Hashtag real-world results and future focus.
Right, fundamental skills still matter. But the ultimate justification for these prices, at the end of the day, is the result. So let's look at the testimonials quickly to see how those strategic investments translate into actual impact for different clients. This should show the practical application of that full-stack model.
Yeah, and the results they highlight are specific and quantitative, which is good to see. Take Evelyn Reed, the author. She didn't just get a website, she apparently got a specialized reader acquisition funnel built. And the result? Her book sales jumped a massive 180% in 8 months. That's not just marketing fluff, that's building infrastructure that directly drives revenue.
And the power of precision targeting seems visible even for local businesses. Michael Chen, the cafe owner, leveraged hyperlocal targeting and saw a 35% increase in weekend foot traffic. That shows the analytics service can be effective right down at the street level, not just for global digital campaigns.
Then you've got the purely technical wins. Alex Rivas, the developer, focused on technical ASO, that's App Store optimization, which is really fine-tuning the technical bits of an App Store listing. His measurable result was reducing the user acquisition cost by 15%. This kind of proves that paying for, say, that $4,500 BI transformation can pay off by making every dollar you spend on ads more efficient down the line.
And the final example is Dr. Lena Sharma, MD. She successfully used local SEO optimizing for specific geographic searches to improve her Google Maps visibility, and that led directly to a steady increase in targeted, qualified patient bookings. So the complexity of the strategy seems to scale up or down, but the measurable metric is always the key focus.
And finally, let's see where this agency seems to think the industry is heading. Their recent blog topics, they're all dated October 2025. They signal their current priorities pretty clearly. There is a heavy, really targeted emphasis on AI. It confirms it's not just some fringe topic. It seems absolutely central to 2025 marketing strategy for them.
What's great, I think, is that they aren't just discussing the AI hype. They seem focused on the investment on the financial side. We see topics like navigating the AI bubble, the 2025 AI audit, and specifically a practical ROI model for your first AI investment. They're basically guiding clients from the philosophical question of should I even use AI to the much harder financial question of, okay, how do I ensure this AI solution actually makes me money?
Exactly, and that focus on the bigger picture seems cemented by including a broader strategic topic like circular supply chains. This tells you that for an agency operating at this kind of level, digital marketing strategy is now intrinsically linked to global operational trends, even sustainability concerns. It extends far past the typical scope of just buying ads. Hashtag outro. So if we try and synthesize all this for you, the listener, I think the core conclusion is pretty definitive. Building real brand momentum today requires a mandatory two-pronged investment. You absolutely have to marry highly sophisticated creative production. Think that $10,000 screenplay with complex, high-value data analytics like the attribution modeling or that 4,497 business intelligence transformation service. If you invest heavily in the art but neglect the science or vice versa, your momentum is likely just going to stall.
That's the strategic takeaway for sure. Now for the final thought for you to consider. Given that this agency is actively promoting practical AI integration, specifically talking about ROI models and audits, what specific business process, maybe from content generation to sales analytics, do you think is most ripe for an immediate AI solution investment? Especially based on the specific price points and service offerings we just reviewed, where is that first $1,000 or maybe even less best spent in this emerging AI automation arms race? Something to think about.